Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cricket Fables. We have a very, very special guest today, all the way from England. Former England spinner Monty Panesar. Monty, how are you? Sab changa si?
I'm going to enjoy this interview. Thank you for having me on the show. I think people going to be speaking Punjabi, Hindi and everything. Yeah, everything is very good. Thank you.
Lovely. Look, we have to get straight into it. You would have followed the India-Australia series. Where, from an English perspective, how do you think the team would have been in Sri Lanka? Doing very well there, we must say. But watching this depleted Indian team tick off so many boxes and then end up doing what very few teams have done. How do you think England are viewing India now?
Well, I think England know that, the tour of India is going to be a tough one. They're going to rely, I think, a lot on Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, which, let's be honest, they're probably are more skillful seamers than the Australian bowlers, with the experience that they have, which is probably a fair statement. And I think that's going to be the danger for India. It's going to be, they've both, bowled very well in the first innings. Jimmy Anderson took 6 for 40, one of his best, figures overseas. And he's actually one of the oldest international bowlers to take a fiver. So, you can see that both Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad are actually, getting better and better. But I think the question will be, what impact can they have on the Indian pitches? Will they be effective as they were in Sri Lanka against India? Because India have a much stronger batting lineup, and they technically are better batsmen as well. So I think that's going to pose a lot of challenges for both the likes of Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson, and it'll be interesting to see how that battle commences.
Yeah. The last time any team won in India was England, and you were the key player of that series. Monty, 17 wickets at an average of 26. So if there's one person who is right in giving advice to this English side, it is you. What would that advice be to the likes of Dom Bess and Jack Leach?
I think the advice would be that I think Test cricket in the subcontinent, especially India, it goes quite slowly. It's very sort of attritional cricket, maybe with the first couple of days, and then suddenly there's this one session and wickets collapse, or suddenly there's an acceleration of runs, and don't be surprised by that. You've got to adapt to the pace of the game. Don't be sort of thinking that this is how the whole day is going to go. You've got to be ready for that. When there's a gear change in the game. So I think that's where they could get caught out. I think these Indian cricketers are really intelligent, astute players. They're the number one Test team in the world, and don't be sort of surprised that Virat Kohli is just an emotional, aggressive cricketer. He's a very intelligent cricketer, and he exactly knows how to get the England batsmen out. And I'm sure they've got some really, thorough game plans on how to, get Joe Root out. And I think the key battle is going to be the Indian spinners versus Joe Root sweep shot, because I think he swept about 300 times, over 300 deliveries throughout the Sri Lanka Test series. And no other batsman came close to, I think it was 50 or 60 sweeps. So if India find an answer to that, which, they're the best team in the world, and if they can't find the answer, then I think, that'll be surprising to see. I think they'll have an answer for that. They get him out early. I think, India will be in a strong position.
Monty, just putting you on the spot a little as a selector, how do you see two spinners, maybe one specialist spinner, and then Moeen Ali? We know Moeen Ali's not played for a while. He was in lockdown, and then he tested positive. Do you see Moeen being a starter for that first test, along with maybe one other spinner?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question you've asked me, because you're making me think as a selector, do I bring in Moeen Ali at 6 or 7 as an all-rounder position, and is he a better option than Dom Bess, who's bowled well, but who's a little bit lucky in that first innings where he got that fifer, and he hasn't really shown the consistency that we thought he would, in the second innings. And he did get better, let's be honest. But I think Moeen Ali is just a better bowler. He's a better off spinner. Jack Leach, I think he's probably a better spinner than Dom Bess. So I think the position that's slightly under question mark is probably Dom Bess's position. Do England go with two spinners, or do they believe that actually two spinners will expose us? Let's just play one spinner. And I think how many there's probably about 4 or 5 players in the top 6 which are right-handers. I would just play one spinner. I actually wouldn't even play Moeen Ali in the first test. I'll probably play Jack Leach as just a sole spinner.
Do you think, we've seen as good as Jimmy and Stewart have been, the greatest fast bowling pair. They haven't played a lot of matches as a pair together for a while, especially given how many overs Jimmy bowled in Sri Lanka. Do you think they'll start with that pair, or perhaps give one of them a break and then play them in the second test match?
Well, when you ask me the question of a chief selector, am I thinking how Ed Smith would think, or would you think how Monty Panesar thinks as an England selector?
Monty Panesar.
Well, if it's how Monty Panesar thinks, I would play Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad in the first test match, because if both of them can bowl really well, I think, India will struggle, to score quickly, to put, England under pressure. And, there could be a moment where wickets could be, flying from both ends, from Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad. So, that would be I think that'll be something interesting to see for the Indian fans. They would love to see that, how India cope with, I think what it is, India's playing a brand of cricket, which the Indian fans expect that any situation, any Indian player will just come in and dominate. And I think that's what, they want to see. So they would love to see the likes of Jimmy Anderson, Stuart bowling for both ends, but actually the Indian batsmen taking them on and scoring runs against them, because that's what Indian fans demand. They believe that since the Brisbane win, India can, dominate any situation against any player.
Mm. Monty, it'll also come down to how England's top order performs. It's no secret that they are really dependent on Joe Root, and fortunately for England, he's really in the form of his life. But to win a test in India, you need more than just Joe Root to perform.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the weakest link if you look at England. There's one area that they could bowl really well, and they could maybe bowl India out quite cheaply at some stage during the Test series, but India could easily find themselves back in the game, because the top order, since Alistair Cook's retirement, they seem to lose 2 or 3 wickets very quickly, and if Joe Root, let's say they get him quite early, then it's going to put a lot of pressure on the England batting lineup. That's one area I think India do believe that they can win the series, is because the top order is just inexperienced in Indian conditions.
Monty, like Meher was saying, the last team to win a Test series in India was the England team, which you were part of. I know Joe Root made his debut during that series. You have, I think, Jimmy and Stewart are the other leftovers from that series. As an international player, is the past something which teams discuss, or is it something like it happens too long ago? Isko bhul jao. Let's just look at the most recent series. How does it work? Because when you look at how historic that series was, you lost the first test, widely written off against India, and then boom, that rank turner at the Wankhede. You go and you outbowl, you outbat India. Would a Joe Root and Anderson, the team manager, would they be looking back that far at a series saying, hey guys, perhaps yahan se we can pick up a few things from what we did well?
Yeah, well, they obviously will be looking, at that tour. What made us successful? What areas do we have in this team currently that matches that 2012 team, and what areas we don't have? I think one area is, you can't replace someone like Kevin Peterson, who scores quite quickly, and that could be possibly Ben Stokes. He could maybe do it for a session, but the way he batted in Mumbai, where he scored 186, and it was just a fantastic innings. That I don't know who's going to be that player, to do that. And then Alistair Cook, his record is good as Matthew Hayden in India, and Joe Root, he may be good against Sri Lanka, but these spinners are really intelligent spinners. They don't just spin the ball and turn it. They're very intelligent bowlers. They're street smart, cricketers. And that's what, I think Joe Root's got the stamina, the endurance, and the fight to battle it out there. But it's going to be, the question mark's going to be, what decisions do the England batsmen take against the intelligent, the astute bowling of Indian spinners?
Do you see someone like a Kuldeep Yadav who should be given a chance ahead of Washington Sundar maybe as a specialist spinner?
Yeah, look, I think India should look to play either Akshay Patel or Kuldeep Yadav, and I think Kuldeep Yadav probably be a better option because he's a Chinaman bowler. He can turn the ball away. It's a completely different angle, which the England batsmen, they haven't really had much practice against. So that could be that X factor sort of player on turning pitches where he could pose a lot of problems. So I think just strategically, I think that'll be a really good move to play Kuldeep Yadav.
पाजी एक आध सवाल हिंदी में करते हैं क्योंकि हमारे हिंदी के बहुत सारे दर्शक होते हैं. जोफ्रा आर्चर इन्होंने जो भी टेस्ट क्रिकेट खेला अब तक वो सारा इंग्लैंड में हुआ है. अब इंडिया में खेल रहे हैं. He's coming off a break, one of the rested players. We don't know a whole lot about the Chennai track. This is a new curator. उसके बाद हम अहमदाबाद जाएंगे जहां पे बिल्कुल नया सरफेस है. जोफ्रा आर्चर पे लेके आपके क्या थॉट्स हैं?
हाँ, जोफ्रा आर्चर, very natural, एक बहुत very easy action है, and वो जब भी इंग्लैंड में बॉलिंग करते हैं, समटाइम मैच सिचुएशन के डिपेंड करते हैं, वो तेज गेंद डाल देंगे. पर जब ओवरकास्ट कंडीशंस होती है, वो विकेट थोड़ी सी ग्रीन होती है, फिर वो जैसे स्विंग काफी कर सकते हैं. सो वो एक जैसे हम सोचते हैं जोफ्रा आर्चर कितने यंग है, पर मैच्योरिटी काफी है, एंड आईपीएल में भी जब बॉलिंग की थी, ऐसे लग रहा था 1-2 ओवर जैसे टेस्ट क्रिकेट अभी हो रही है आईपीएल में. वेरी तेज गेंद है, बहुत अच्छी लेंथ भी करते हैं. सो ये भी आई थिंक जोफ्रा आर्चर में इतना समझ है कंडीशंस को कैसे संभालना, बॉलिंग कैसे डालनी, एंड it would be a very a nail biting contest with the Indian, especially Virat Kohli versus Jofra Archer bowling fast.
नहीं, मैं कह रहा हूँ अगर आपको हम थोड़ा ऑन द स्पॉट डालें, अगर आप आपसे प्रेडिक्शन मांगे, Michael Vaughan वाला prediction नहीं, because I think so many of us got it wrong when it came to India, Australia. As an former England player, as an England supporter, but also fully aware कि Indian team की strengths weaknesses क्या है, आपको क्या लगता है सीरीज का, अगर हम फाइनल प्रेडिक्शन आपसे पूछें?
आई थिंक मेरे हिसाब से अब जब हम इंग्लैंड की बैटिंग देख रहे हैं, बैटिंग का काफी इनएक्सपीरियंस है, एंड दूसरी बात ये भी है, बेन स्टोक्स जब आईपीएल में खेले थे, पहले 2-3 गेम में ओपनिंग बैटिंग की थी, पर इतने रन नहीं कर पाए, बट होल धीरे धीरे से फिर वो कंडीशंस थोड़े यूज्ड टू हो गए, फिर अच्छा परफॉर्म किया. एंड ये भी एक रवि शास्त्री देखेंगे दैट बेन स्टोक्स थोड़ा एक्स फैक्टर प्लेयर हैं, बट मे बी फर्स्ट 2 टेस्ट मैचेस थोड़ा एडजस्ट होना पड़ेगा कंडीशंस को. एंड जॉस बटलर भी नहीं है, जॉस बटलर फर्स्ट चलेंगे बाद में, एंड जोनी बेस्टो आफ्टर 3rd और 4th टेस्ट मैच में आएंगे. सो थोड़ा रोटेशन पॉलिसी के ऐसे लगता है जैसे इंडिया अभी स्ट्रांग है, इंडिया की टीम स्ट्रांग है, विराट कोहली वापस आ रहे हैं, सीम डिपार्टमेंट देखो कितना स्ट्रांग है, एंड बस एक कमी है इंडिया की, वो है रविंद्र जडेजा, सेकंड स्पिनर. पर इंडियन कंडीशंस में आई थिंक सेकंड स्पिनर को कंडीशंस हेल्प करते हैं जब भी है.
ऑलराइट, सो आपने फिर प्रेडिक्शन तो बताया नहीं मॉन्टी.
प्रेडिक्शन तो मैं तो सोचा आपने समझ लिया, प्रेडिक्शन इंडिया ही जीतेगी.
नहीं, मतलब कुछ क्या 2-1 2-1 3-1
I think yeah 2-0 or 2-1. मैं सरप्राइज होगा if it's 3-0 or 3 or 4-0. that हो सकता है. जे इंग्लैंड की जो टॉप ऑर्डर बैटिंग है, जैसे नहीं हम कहते अश्विन ने एक बहुत जबरदस्त गेम प्लान डाला, that could possibly happen.
Thank you so much, Monty Panesar, for taking the time out and talk to us. And it's been a pleasure. Or I hope that the England team gets inspired by your performance as well. like we said, you played a very important role in that win in 2012.
एक आखिरी सवाल फिर आपको देंगे इजाजत। वो सचिन तेंदुलकर वाली डिलीवरी जो कि हाल ही में one of the balls of this century. Just a few words, क्योंकि I mean we all saw that and we watched it countless times. Aapka reaction the moment the ball sneaked past his bat. I want to hear it from you, please.
Yes, I was a little bit, मैं यही सोच रहा था that I want to hit the top of off stump, and दिमाग में ये था that Sachin Tendulkar probably will play a forward defense, but वो काफी तेज में गेंद डाली and at the end drift होके turn हुआ and it was perfect delivery. मैं आप हैरान था ऐसे मैं गेंद अच्छी हो गई. So I believe that should be the ball of the century. Shane Warne से भी better ball है ये.
इतने बेहतरीन बैट्समैन को आउट करना at home when he's looking really good. So और आपका और मेरा छोटा सा एक राब्ता है. आपने जब अपनी पहली टेस्ट विकेट लिया था also सचिन तेंदुलकर LBW उस टाइम मैं बॉल बाय बॉल कर रहा था क्रिक इन्फो पे. तो स्मॉल
हाँ वो स्पेशल मोमेंट था ना बिकॉज सचिन तेंदुलकर का एक मैं ऐसे सेलिब्रेट नहीं करता पहले जो तो करता था अभी जो तो विकेट ली फेरी हुआ एंड वो एक सचिन तेंदुलकर की ग्रेटनेस है ना जब कोई हम ऐसे सेलिब्रेट करते हैं हम बिकॉज वो इतने बड़े प्लेयर हैं इतने पता नहीं कितनी मेहनत की इतने अच्छे प्लेयर बनने के लिए सो जब विकेट लेते हैं हम सचिन तेंदुलकर इट्स लाइक थोड़ा हैरान की बात होती है बिलीव नहीं कर सकते हैं यही था ना फर्स्ट टेस्ट विकेट आई couldn't believe it.
Lovely. Monty Panesar, thank you so much for sparing time to speak to Cricket Fables. Wish you all the best and we look forward to perhaps speaking to you again in the future.
Yes, thank you for having me on the show and yeah, I look forward to joining you soon.
Shukriya Paji, thank you.